Hello friends, welcome to class of transportation engineering. In this lecture we will continue with the same topic that we were discussing in the previous lecture, that is the pavement design, and we were discussing the chapter that is the rigid pavements. Okay, in previous lecture we discussed about the stresses in rigid pavements, and we are going to discuss about joints in rigid pavements in this lecture. Okay, so let us move ahead. Joints in rigid pavements. Okay, so there are mainly three types of joints in rigid pavements. First type is the expansion joint. Expansion joint. The second type is the contraction joints. Contraction joints. And the third type of joint is the longitudinal joint. Okay, longitudinal joint. Okay, so the name itself suggests to you uh, what may be the function of the joint, or what may be the characteristics of these joints. Okay, and you all must have heard all these names, and also you all must have seen these kind of joints while traveling on the CC roads. Okay, so just for your information, I'll draw a plan view of a CC road. Okay, plan view of a CC road. Okay, so it is of this kind. In the center of the road, there will be, you can see that there is a line like this. Okay, and there will be few lines will be visible to you in this way. Okay, yes, like this. Okay, guys. Yes. So, yes. So there is gap. Okay, here it is a gap. Gap. Say delta. There is a gap like this, and that is the expansion joint. Okay, expansion joint. Okay, the the large gaps that you get to see are the expansion joints. There will be few lines. Those are the contraction joints. Okay, contraction joints. Okay, lines between the two expansion joints. Okay, contraction joints. Okay, this one and this one also. Okay, and this line along the longitudinal direction of the pavement is the longitudinal joint. Longitudinal joint. Okay, and remember friends that there is no gap. Okay, just like the expansion joint. We will discuss the details of each of the joints. Okay, in this lecture. Don't worry, just you should know what are the locations of the joint in the rigid pyramid. Okay, so you can visualize the things. The distance between the two expansion joints is L suffix small e. Okay, and the center to center distance between the two uh, contraction joints is L suffix C. Okay, so though here it is an expansion joint on this side, but it is L suffix C. Okay, guys. So let us first discuss the expansion joint. Okay, expansion joint in details. So expansion joint is provided to allow expansion of pavement due to rise in temperature. The name suggests. Okay, it is to allow the expansion of pavement due to rise in temperature. Okay, rise in temperature. Mastic pad. Mastic pad is used. Mastic pad is provided between joints. Is provided between joints. Provided between joints that can compress by 50%. That can compress by 50%. Okay, guys. So mastic pad is provided between joints that can compress by 50%. So in this place, okay, so there is a gap. Okay, here there is a gap. Here this is the expansion joint, and there is a gap like this. So in this gap there is mastic pad provided. Okay, that has got capacity to compress by 50%. So in summers, what is going to happen? This is a pavement that is going to expand this way, and this pavement is also going to expand this way, and ultimately there is going to be compressive force exerted on this pad, as a result of which the pad is going to compress by 50%. It has got capacity to compress by 50%. So we have got formula that the expansion, the formula for expansion we have is that is equal to L alpha delta T, where L is the length, alpha is the coefficient or thermal coefficient, okay, and delta T is the increase in temperature or the change in the temperature, okay guys. Alpha is the coefficient of thermal expansion, okay, coefficient of thermal expansion. So this is the general formula, and in order to use this formula in this particular case, what we will have to do is that the expansion allowed is known to us, that is going to be, suppose this gap is delta, then the expansion allowed over here will be expansion allowed will be equal to delta by 2, since our pad is going to compress by 50% of the gap only, okay. So delta by 2 is the allowed expansion, that will be equal to L into alpha into T, okay, where alpha is coefficient of thermal expansion, delta is actual gap at the joint, okay. T is the change in the temperature or the rise in the temperature, and L is equal to, that you tell me. So in this case what happens, see guys, delta by 2 can be fixed by us. Based on this delta by 2 value or the delta value that can be fixed by us, alpha is going to remain constant for the concrete. T is the change in temperature that is going to remain constant for particular location of the pavement. Okay. So L is the spacing, okay, spacing of expansion joint that we have to design. Okay, spacing of expansion joint. So using this formula, what we will get to know is that what should be the spacing of the expansion joint, okay, at that particular place. So L is the spacing of expansion joint. So the generalized formula we have now used over here, and we are using it for design to find out what is the spacing of the expansion joint. Okay, so please write a heading that spacing of expansion joint is given by formula, from this formula. Therefore, spacing of expansion joint is given as L suffix E is equal to delta by 2 alpha T. Okay, delta by 2 alpha T. Okay, so this is sufficient to discuss the spacing of expansion joint. We will take up a numerical example based on this. So please write down a question based on this. That is a CC pavement. Please write it quickly. CC pavement is constructed at temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. Is constructed at temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. The peak summer temperature is 45 degrees Celsius. The peak summer temperature is 45 degrees Celsius. The coefficient of thermal expansion of concrete is, so alpha C value is 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius. Okay, and the gap at expansion joint is 2.5 centimeter. So delta value is given to be 2.5 centimeter, and the spacing of expansion joint is, so they are asking what is the spacing of expansion joint. Okay, the spacing of expansion joint is, so it is a very straightforward question guys, and I'll ask you to solve on yourself. So spacing of expansion joint will be given by L suffix E equal to delta by T alpha T, delta by 2 alpha T equal to 2.5 by 2. Okay, so it is in centimeters. Alpha value is 10 into 10 to the power minus 6, and T is 45 minus 10, that is the 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that is equal to 35.35371.4 centimeter, that is equal to 35.7 meter should be the spacing between the two expansion joints. Okay, so if there is pavement like this, provide expansion joints like this, leaving length of the spacing equal to 35.7 meters. So please check for the calculations. Okay guys. Okay, so the units, this is in degree Celsius, this is strain per degree Celsius, and this is in degree Celsius, and finally this is the only parameter that is going to have some unit, and that is the reason, since we are putting this value in centimeters, we will get the spacing of expansion joint in centimeters itself. Okay, so let's now move on to discuss the contraction joints. Okay, contraction joints. Purpose is, please write down, purpose of contraction joint is to allow the contraction of slab due to fall in slab temperature below the construction temperature. Okay, fall in slab temperature below the construction temperature. Okay, construction temperature. Okay guys, so the design considerations are, first design consideration is movement is restricted by subgrade friction. Movement of slab is, or the pavement slabs, okay, is restricted by subgrade friction, and the second design consideration is the design involves length of the slab given by okay, so we will be discussing now the length of the slab should be given by what parameters. Okay, now, so as far as contraction joints are concerned, there are again two distinctions, that is the contraction joints for PCC slabs. Okay, contraction joints for plain cement concrete slabs. Okay, and second one is contraction joints for RCC slabs. Okay, so in case of PCC slabs, what happens, we are going to discuss this, the contraction joints for PCC slabs. Okay, so frictional force is equal to the resisting force. Frictional force is equal to resisting force. Okay, is equal to resisting force. So the situation, as we have earlier discussed, that the frictional force generated will be given by, okay, it will be again the same situation that we discussed while calculating the frictional stresses. Say there is a slab like this. Okay, the pavement slab is resting on ground like this. Okay, so it is of this kind. Okay, yes, it is of this kind, and B is the width like this, and this is the, say, is length L suffix C. Okay, so the frictional stresses, okay, will be generated like this in the opposite direction. The frictional stresses or the frictional force will be generated like this. So the frictional force will be given as, okay, the normal reaction into the coefficient of friction, and the normal reaction will be equal to weight of the pavement, okay, on half of the side. Okay, on half weight of the half of the pavement, because this one value stands for half the pavement's value. Okay, So that is W by 2 and into F. So W will be given as gamma C into this volume, which will be given by B into L into H by 2 into F. So this height is H. Okay, this height of the or the depth of this pyramid slab is H. So the frictional force will be given as, it is exactly this something that we discussed in case of the it is exactly the way we discussed while calculating the frictional stresses. In fact, we are calculating the frictional force itself here. So small f gamma suffix c b into lc into h upon 2 will be equal to sigma suffix f into b into h will be the resisting force. So there will be a section like this in the middle here. There will be section like this, okay, that is going to resist this frictional force. So this section has got height small h, the depth, and this is b, okay. So this b into small h is the cross section of this section, and sigma f is the tensile strength of concrete, okay. So please write down where you know all other symbols except the sigma f, that is equal to tensile strength of concrete, okay, tensile strength of concrete, or it is the modulus of rupture, okay, the modulus of rupture, okay guys, that is given as 0.7 root FCK, okay, 0.7 root FCK, okay. So this was the case in case of the PCC slabs, the plain cement concrete, and from based on this you can find out LC will be given as 2 sigma f upon gamma c small f, okay. So this is the spacing of contraction joint for plain cement concrete slabs. So we are now going to discuss contraction joint for RCC slabs, okay, RCC slabs. So the situation will be quite different over here. Here it will have the steel to resist the tensile stresses, okay, or the tensile forces. So contraction joints in RCC slabs. So please write down what we are going to find out is length of or the spacing of contraction joint in RCC slabs. Okay, RCC slabs. So are the pavements. So again here also frictional force will be equal to the resisting force. Okay. So again here small f gamma c into b into lc into h by 2 will be equal to sigma suffix s into a suffix s. LC will be given as 2 into sigma suffix s is as area of steel, okay, area of cross section of steel upon b into h into f into gamma c, okay. So in this case we are assuming that the complete tension is taken by steel, okay. Please make a small note in your notebooks that the complete tension is taken by steel, and sigma s is allowable tensile strength of steel, allowable tensile strength of steel that will be given to you in the problem, and concrete plays no role in this design. Concrete plays no role to resist any tension. Okay guys. Okay. So I hope it is clear. It is pretty simple problem. You did not muck up anything. Most importantly, I could have given you simple formula, but I don't want you people to muck up the things. Okay. So this is AS is the area of cross section of steel. Okay. area of cross section of steel. So say there are n bars like this, small bars. So n into area of cross section of each of the bars, area of cross section of each of the bars can be found out by this. So third one is the longitudinal joints. The longitudinal joints, longitudinal joints. They are provided if the pavement width is more than 4.5 meters. Provided if the pavement width is greater than or more than 4.5 meters. Okay, guys? And I'll discuss about the bars. Okay, so that we provide in these pavements. So suppose this is the CC road, the RCC road, then there will be expansion joints like this. Just please bear up with my diagrams, okay? This is quite different mode, so the diagrams are not that good. So there are dowel bars over here, okay? So this is an expansion joint, and there will be dowel bars over here, okay, like this. In the expansion joints, there will be dowel bars, and also there will be mastic pads, okay? And this is the longitudinal joint, okay? This line is the longitudinal joint, and there will be tie bars over here, okay? That will be tying two pyramids, tie bars. So please write down here, these are the dowel bars we will discuss, the dowel bars, as well as these are the tie bars, okay? So dowel bars are the supporting bars, okay? So dowel bars are of this kind, okay? I'll show you. Suppose the pavement is like this, okay? And bar will be fixed onto one side, and it will be free to move on the other side of the pavement. This is the bar, okay? So this is the dowel bar that is fixed on one side, and it is free to move on the other side, okay? I'll tell you, free to move on the other side, okay guys? So let's discuss some specifications of the dowel bars. So the specifications for dowel bars, okay? So dowel bars are round bars of short length, round bars of short length that are coated with zinc, okay? Coated with zinc or lead based points or epoxy coated lead based paints or are epoxy coated, okay? Secondly, the maximum load transferred through dowel bars is 40% of the maximum axle load. Maximum load transferred through dowel bars is 40% of 40% of maximum axle loads. Okay? Maximum axle loads. These are not provided for slab having thickness less than 150 mm. Not provided for slabs having thickness less than 150 mm. Okay, and bearing stress in concrete is responsible for performance of joints or for dowel bars. Okay, bearing stress in concrete is responsible for performance of joints for dowel bars. Okay, guys. So let us now discuss the tie bars. Okay, the tie bars. Tie bars. These are used across the longitudinal joints. Used across the longitudinal joints. Okay. Next thing is that this ensures the adjacent slabs remain firmly together. So where do we use it is like this. So if there are two pyramids, oh sorry, if there are two pyramids like this, okay, this, this is width of each of the pyramid, okay, and so this is the longitudinal direction, okay, this one is the longitudinal direction. So here we provide the tie bars, okay. So what this ensures is that the two slabs remain firmly together, okay, this slab and this slab, that it ensures that the two slabs remain firmly together, firmly. Write something. Very important point is that they are not designed as load transfer devices. Very important. They are not designed as load transfer devices. Load transfer devices. Okay, very important. And the next thing is that bars are designed to withstand tensile stresses induced due to friction at bottom, but designed to withstand the tensile stresses induced due to friction at bottom. Induced due to friction at bottom. Okay, guys. Tensile stresses induced due to friction at bottom, and whenever there will be friction, that is, we are very much aware now that how to solve it. So again, the same thing we will discuss the diameter and spacing, okay, of these bars. So please write down the diameter and spacing of tie bars. Okay. So the scenario is of this kind. Let's say that this is the ground level and the pyramid is of this kind. Okay. So these are the two pyramids like this. Okay. So this is width B, and here in this region there will be tie bars, okay, along the longitudinal joint. So there will be frictional force like this, and weight will be W acting here like this. So frictional force equal to the resisting force, Newton's third law. Okay. So again, F into gamma C into 1 meter into 2b into h by 2 will be equal to the resisting force is As into sigma s. Gamma C, unit weight of concrete. 1 meter, we are considering along the length. Since the length is going to be too large, we are considering one strip of 1 meter now. 2b here, 2b, so this 1b and the another b, okay, and we will be later on making half of it, so this 2 and this 2 gets cancelled, but just you have to account it in some way. And h is the depth of the pyramid, okay, small h. A is area of cross section of steel along this 1 meter width of the length, 1 meter length that we have considered, okay, and sigma s is the allowable stress in steel. So area of bars is equal to area of tie bars. Area of tie bars is equal to A suffix S is equal to F gamma C B H upon sigma S, and assuming diameter of tie bars as phi, assuming dia of tie bars as phi, the AS will be given as, that is the area of cross section of each bar, pi by 4 into phi square. Therefore, spacing of tie bars, okay, the spacing of tie bars, the spacing of tie bars will be equal to 100 into A suffix S upon capital AS. Okay guys, it is very important. So spacing of tie bars. Okay. So if you have basics of RCC design properly, this is uh, not that difficult to deal with. Okay, it is very simple and that comes from the common sense. Okay, so the length of tie bars, L suffix D equal to LT by 2, that is equal to phi sigma S into 4 tau BD. So from where this formula comes is very important. So LT is this length, okay, LT is this length is LT, length of the tie bar, okay, and this length will be LT by 2, okay, half of it will be LT by 2, that is the distance for which the tie bar is put inside the payment on one single payment, okay, it is like that. So from where it comes, so I'll draw a figure over here. So this is one payment on only one side, okay. So this is length LD that we are stating over here. This is LD and this complete length is LT. Okay, so this LD equal to LT by 2, and there will be another slab on this side which I am not showing. And this formula, this comes from IS456, or you can derive it on yourself. That is not a big deal. What you do is shear force, the pulling shear force will be equal to the tensile strength of this one rod, okay. And I'll be deriving this particular formula if I take up RCC, okay. So we'll be taking up numericals on this, and before that, please make very important note, that is in RCC pavements, duty of steel is to resist the tension developed due to friction, okay, that is the tension that is developed because of the secondary stresses, okay, due to temperature, secondary stresses due to temperature, friction or secondary stresses due to temperature, which is one and the same thing. And secondly, it is not for the steel is not provided to resist the wheel loads, guys. It is very important to make that the steel is for resisting these secondary stresses generated, and wheel load stresses should be completely resisted by concrete alone. So please write down, the wheel loads should be completely resisted by concrete alone. Okay. Therefore, minimum strength of concrete in rigid pavements is 35 MPa. So M35 is the minimum strength of concrete in rigid pavements. You see that in RCC, even we are going for 20 MPa. That is the general criteria is 20 MPa in RCC. Okay, but in few cases it might be less or the more somewhere. But in as far as pavements are concerned, the minimum grade of concrete to be used is 35 MPa, and since the wheel loads are completely resisted by concrete alone, and steel doesn't play any role in resisting the wheel loads in the pavements, okay, in the roads, the rigid pavements, okay guys. So in this way, we are done with the discussion on the joints in rigid pyramids, and only what we are left with now is the numerical examples based on this. Okay, guys. So let's take up some numerical examples. Okay. So let us discuss numerical examples. The first question is that a CC pyramid is constructed at a temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. The peak temperature is 45 degrees Celsius. So delta T is equal to 35 degrees Celsius. The coefficient of thermal expansion of concrete alpha is equal to 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius. And the gap of expansion joint is delta is equal to 2.5 centimeter. The spacing of expansion joints is, I guess we have done this question. Yes. So LE is equal to delta by 2 upon alpha delta T. So please find it out. 2.5 by 2 upon 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 into delta T is 35 degrees Celsius. And the answer that you get is, please check some calculation in this. Whatever you get is the answer. Okay. I guess the numbers are 3571.4 centimeter. Please look for the calculation. Okay, guys, the calculations that is equal to 35.71 meters. Okay, so you should provide the expansion joint at interval of 35.71 meters. Okay, so this is the way how the expansion joint spacing is decided. Okay, guys. So yes, let's move on to this. Length of expansion joint is spacing of the expansion joint is 35.71. So the next question is, yes, the CC pavement of thickness 18 centimeter. You have to write down this question, guys. The CC pavement of thickness 18 centimeter has two lanes of 7.2 centimeter. Okay, with a longitudinal joint. Okay, so it should be 7.2 meters with a longitudinal joint, with thickness of slab equal to 18 centimeter. Okay, thickness of slab equal to 18 centimeter, and the total width of pavement is equal to 7.2. Width of pavement is equal to 7.2 meters. The permissible stress in steel in tension is 700 kg per centimeter square. The density of concrete is given 2400 kg per meter cube, and the F value is given to be permissible bearing stress in steel is given to be 24.6 kg per centimeter square, and diameter of rod used is 10 mm. Okay, and also the information is given that F is equal to 1.5, and they're asking that spacing of the bars is and minimum length of tie bars is. So let's write down the data that the CC pavement has got thickness of 18 centimeter, has two lengths of 7.2 meters. Okay, so 2b is equal to 7.2 meters, and with thickness of slab is equal to 18 centimeter. Okay, so H is 18 centimeter we have written. Total width 2b 7.2 we have written. Permissible stress in steel is 1700 kg per centimeter square. Gamma C, the unit weight of concrete is given to be, or density of concrete is given to be 2400 kg per meter cube. F is given to be 1.5. Sigma B is equal to 24.6 kg per centimeter square, and phi is given to be 10 mm. So the situation is just like this that we were discussing. Okay, there it is. Yes, this is what these are the formulae that we will be using, and the question that has been asked is the spacing of tie bars is. Spacing of tie bars is. So we will be using these particular concepts. Okay, first we will find out the area of tie bars from this formula. A is equal to F gamma C BH upon sigma S. We just derived it from here. The frictional force is equal to the resistive force. We need not remember this formula. This is exactly the same question has been asked. This 2b distance is given to be 7.2 meters. Diameter is given, and still more various specifications are given. Okay, based on the area of cross section of tie bars, we will be able to find out the spacing of tie bars, okay, from this formula. So we will exactly use the formula, this first concept, to find out the spacing of steel bars, and the minimum length of the tie bars we will be calculating using this formula, okay. Minimum length will be this one, the LT will be the minimum length, okay. So that we will be finding out using this formula. So I need not discuss the concept again, we will use directly this formula. So yes, so area of tie bars. So area of tie bars to be provided, area of tie bars. So A equal to F gamma C B H by sigma S will be equal to 1.5 into 2400 into 3.6 into 0.18 upon sigma S is 1700 divided by 10 to the power minus 4. Okay guys, so this is done to just convert the 700 kg per centimeter square into 1700 kg. 1 centimeter stands for 10 to the power minus 2 meters, and since it is square we should square it, and that's why here it comes to convert everything into meters. See, 18 centimeter is 0.18 meters, 3.6 meters, 2400 kg per meter cube, it is kg per meter cube. Yes, it is given to be kg per meter cube, and that way. So in meters what we will get is, I am writing in centimeters, is 137.22 mm square. 137.22 mm square. This should be the area of tie bars, okay, along the 1 meter length of the rigid pavements, okay. So we can find out spacing from this, for which we have got formula. Spacing is equal to 1000 small as upon capital AS. But we don't know the small as, so the small a suffix s could be found out from pi by 4, okay, pi by 4 into 10 square, okay, and spacing will be equal to, therefore the spacing will be equal to 1000 into pi by 4 into 10 square upon 137.22. It is all in mm, okay, mm square and mm. So 572 mm, 572 mm should be the spacing of each of the tires. So it is very simple. After RCC, you will come to know that how this formula comes, the 1000 small as by s. That is the general formula for spacing of steel in the slabs. Okay, it is very straightforward question. The next question is the minimum length of tie bars they are asking. Minimum length of tie bars. As of now, let's discuss the minimum length of tie bars directly as formula. It is given by formula 2 into LT, okay, is given by 2 into pi sigma S, okay, 4 tau BD. So it comes, how it comes, that I'll be discussing, I already told you. And so it comes out to be pi is equal to, so 2 into diameter of rod in centimeter is 10 mm is 1 centimeter into sigma S value will be equal to 1700 kg per centimeter square. 4 into tau BD is 24.6, so which comes out to be 34.5 centimeters. 34.5 centimeters. And the options will be given as somewhere around 34.5. We will have to round off it to the higher side, say 36 centimeters. Okay, 35, 36 centimeters. The spacing, the length should be the larger one. You cannot provide length less than this, okay, to satisfy the criteria. So let us move on to the next question. This question. The rigid pavement of thickness 20 cm has coefficient of relative stiffness equal to 8 kg per centimeter cube. The Poisson's ratio is equal to 0.15. Young's modulus of concrete is 3 into 10 to the power 5 kg per centimeter square. Coefficient of thermal expansion is 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius. The Bradbury coefficient at edges are Cx equal to 0.92 and Cy equal to 0.72 respectively. Temperature change is 16.2 degrees Celsius. The radius of contact area between tire and the road surface is 15 centimeter. So the warping stress at the edge is, and the warping stress at the corner is. This is the question. So let us write down the data. So the rigid pavement of thickness 20 centimeter, H is equal to 20 centimeter. Coefficient of relative stiffness K is equal to 8 kg per centimeter cube. Mu is given to be 0.15. Young's modulus of concrete is E equal to 3 into 10 to the power 5 kg per centimeter square. Coefficient of thermal expansion alpha equal to 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 per degree Celsius, and Cx value is given to be 0.92, Cy value is given to be 0.72, delta T or simply T is given to be 16.2 degrees Celsius, A is 15 centimeter, radius of contact between tire and road surface is 15 centimeter. Okay. So they are asking the warping stress at the edges. So formula for warping stress at edge is given as, since Cx is greater than Cy in this case, the warping stress at edge will be given by formula Cx E alpha T upon 2, and in this, so Cx value is 0.92 into E is 3 into 10 to the power 5 into 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 into T is 16.2 upon 2, that is equal to 22.356 kg per centimeter square. 22.356 kg per centimeter square is our answer. Okay. Please understand how we have done this. So next question is warping stress. This was warping stress at edge. Okay. Next question is warping stress at the corner is. So warping stress at corner is given by warping stress at corners is given by sigma c equal to E alpha T upon 3 into 1 minus alpha A root A by L. So where L is the length of radius of relative stiffness. So we need to find out the radius of relative stiffness first for this. Okay, radius of relative stiffness. Okay, and that is L is equal to EH cube upon 12k 1 minus mu square to the power 1 by 4, that is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 5 into h is 20 over here, 20 centimeters. So so 12 into 8, 12 into k is 8 kg per centimeter cube into 1 minus mu square. Mu is 0.15 and the square of it the square, don't forget that it is inside the bracket, and the value that you get is, please calculate and tell me. You get 71.14 centimeter, okay, is the length of relative stiffness L, and you will have to put this L value in this formula. So I'll write it on the next slide. Don't have space. Okay, I'll write it over here. Okay. So the formula was warping stress at corner was equal to E alpha T upon 3 1 minus alpha A by L is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 5 into 10 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 16.2 upon 3 into 1 minus 0.15 in bracket A is 15 upon 71.14, that is equal to 8.75 kg per centimeter square. 8.75 kg per centimeter square. So quite straightforward questions, but you need to remember this formula. Okay. I have given you limited formulae. I have suggested you to keep in mind this limited formula, not all the formulas, so please do it, that will be beneficial for you. Okay. So the next question is a 20 centimeter thick cement concrete slab has width of 3.75 meters. F value is given to be 1.5. The allowable tensile strength in concrete is sigma C is 0.8 kg per centimeter square, and that of the reinforcing steel is equal to 1200 kg per centimeter square. 10 mm diameter bars, so phi is equal to 10 mm, and at spacing of 300 mm is used. So spacing is given to be 300 mm. So the spacing of contraction joints in plain cement concrete pavement is spacing of contraction joints in plain cement concretes and in RCC pavements. We just discussed this some time back. So you are expected to do it, like I will suggest you that it will be better if you not mug up this formula and use simple concepts and derive the formula on the spot. That will be very much beneficial. But for now, I'm directly writing the formula since we have just discussed how to derive the formula, very small calculation. So for PCC slab, the spacing LC equal to 2 into sigma C upon gamma CF. Oh, sorry, I have written it here. So 2 into sigma C is 0.8 into 10 to the power 4, and gamma C is 2400 kg per meter cube, and F value is given to be 1.5. Okay. So I guess gamma C is not mentioned over here. Okay. Gamma C you write down 2400 kg per meter cube and kg per meter cube, and whenever it is not mentioned you should know this value. Okay, it is 2400 kg per centimeter cube, kg per meter cube, since we are civil engineers, and we have converted everything in terms of now meters. Okay, so that's the reason 0.8 into 10 to the power 4, and the answer comes out to be 4.4 meters. Straightforward. Next question is for spacing of contraction joints in RCC pyramids. Okay, for RCC pyramids. RCC pyramids. So again, this spacing is given as the spacing of contraction joints, that is equal to 2 sigma s into AC as area of steel upon B into H into F into sigma C. Okay, here we know this sigma S value, we know B, we know H, F, and gamma C is known to us, but we don't know the AS value, that is not directly given, and they are given the spacing. Spacing is been given. So diameter is given and the spacing is given. So for that particular length, what is going to be the area of cross section of the steel provided? Okay, so it is clear to us that we should use this formula, the spacing equal to, if it is 1 meter width, then the formula is of this kind, small as 1000 into small ast upon capital AST. But in this case, our width, the length across which we are going to calculate the uh, the spacing is different. So here our formula will be, is in place of 1000 there will be 3750 mm. Okay, so across this the area of steel provided is equal to, so spacing is 300 and 3750 into pi by 4 into d square upon AST. Okay, AST. So here we get AST is equal to 981.75 mm square, and the spacing, therefore the spacing of contraction joint will be given by 2 into, just substitute all the values now over here in this particular formula. Okay, this LC formula. The substitute values over here in this formula, and that straight away comes out to be 2 into 1200 into 981.75 into 10 to the power minus 2 upon 3.75 into 0.2 into 2400 into 1.5. That is equal to 8.73 meters center to center. So what you have to look for is the units, very important, that the unit should be consistent, and go for the units that are in the options. First look at the options and the units of the options, and convert everything into those units, and the convenient units you should use for all the rational formula that we have discussed over here. Okay, so in this way we are done with highway engineering, and in the next lecture we will start with the airport engineering or the railway engineering. Okay guys, so this was the last chapter, and heavy engineering is over now. Guys, please keep on practicing all the questions, mainly the numerical questions you should focus less on theory, and please keep on revising this formula, it is very important, and this subject has got good weightage in GATE. So please note that it is very simple. If you do it 2 to 3 revisions of this subject, it will be fit into your mind, and you can easily obtain marks based on this subject. There are very straightforward questions asked in the GATE examination, so this is a chance which you should not miss. Okay guys, so thank you so much, and see you in the next lecture.